also see in Scripture how God created a creative order to life. Like there's certain rules in place. One of those rules is gravity. If you decide you want to rebel against God, I don't like this rule of gravity. I'm going to rebel against it and go up on top of this building. I'm going to jump down because I don't want to take the elevator. That's not fair. How dare you restrict me with the law of gravity? So he set that law of gravity in place to, for our protection. But when we choose to disobey that, we get hurt. When we choose to disobey some of the moral laws that God put in place, we hurt ourselves. We're kicking against the goads. We're doing things where, we're getting poked here. And, it's almost like, I heard an analogy. Creation it's like a wood. It has a grain. When you rub your hand with the grain, it's okay. But when you rub your hand against the grain, you pick up splinters. And God created a creative order to this world, and when you rub your hand against the grain, you're picking up splinters. You're only hurting yourself. So Paul is this man, although in his zeal, he thinks he's right, he's only hurting himself. Jesus is like, why are you persecuting me? You're only kicking against the goads. You're only hurting yourself. You're picking up splinters, Saul. You're not helping out anyone. And then Jesus tells him to go to Damascus. He says, go to Damascus and wait for further instruction. So Paul gets up. The light's gone. He opens up his eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm blind. Now he's blind. He can't see anything. And the Bible really doesn't tell us why he's blind. I mean, I think it's to really stick it to him. I mean, man, how do you take someone who's so strong-willed, who's willing to kill people for certain beliefs? How do you change his thinking? Well, strike him blind. I mean, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. But the Bible really doesn't say why. But Paul is struck blind. And this is an intense reality check for Paul. Because, like I said, he was living a way where he was willing to kill people for not believing the same thing he believed in. He went so far in a certain direction. Everything he knew, he was living up by everything he knew, everything he was taught. And in one instance, Jesus turned the table upside down on Paul. Knocks everything out. I mean, his whole perspective on life was just changed in one instant. Huge reality check. Saul's buddies were pretty scared too. They saw the light. They heard sound. They didn't comprehend the voices, but they heard the sound. They saw the light. They didn't see anyone, and they saw Paul on the ground blind. So they're pretty shaken. Their mighty leader, the man who has done all these great things, the one who's taken initiative and taken out all these Christian heretics, he's out in one instance. So then they have to lead him into Damascus blind. And we think as this, I'm leading you. Last night we had a farewell party from Mutsumi, who's going to be going back to Japan soon. And part of it was that I had to kidnap her and blindfold her. She thought the party was at my house, but everybody else hid somewhere else. So she got there, and it was just me, and Emily was there too. And she's like, "Oh, where's everyone at? Oh, no one came. Oh, by the way, we have to kidnap you and blindfold you." So we blindfold her because she's not supposed to know where she's going. And trying to lead her out, she's like, she didn't want to go. And she's like feeling with her foot, where that step is at. Oh, there's 3 steps. And it's when you're blind, like you really don't know. Like we subconsciously, we have our peripheral vision here, and we subconsciously see something and we'll step over it. Subconsciously, we just don't even think about it. When you're blind, you don't see that. You're going to stub a toe. You're going to fall down. You don't know that the road goes down or up, and you're kicking, you're tripping, and people are leading you. You don't want to go anywhere, and that's kind of how Mutsumi was a little bit last night, trying to get her inside the car too. It was kind of a trick and a half. But so this is not a pretty sight when Paul is it's not like I'm being led to Damascus. I mean, he's probably tripping. He's probably stubbing all 10 of his toes. It's not a fun time for him. And then he thinks, well, I get to Damascus. Jesus says, go to Damascus and wait for further instruction. I'm going to go to Damascus. Jesus is going to speak to me. Wrong. He sits in Damascus for 3 days blind. Probably scared. Well, most likely scared. Questioning everything he ever known. He's probably going through his theology books in his mind. Where the heck was that at? And I don't see that. Blind, he didn't eat. He didn't drink anything. He fasted for 3 days. That's where we come to our next verses. verses 10 through 16. In Damascus there was a disciple named Ananias. The Lord called to him in a vision, "Ananias." "Yes, Lord," he answered. The Lord told him, "Go to the house of Judas on Straight Street and ask for a man of Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying. In a vision he has seen a man named Ananias come and place his hands on him to restore his sight." "Lord," Ananias answered, "I have heard many reports about this man and all the harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem, and how he has come here with authority from the chief priests to arrest all who call upon your name." But the Lord said to Ananias, "Go. This man is my chosen instrument to carry out my name before the Gentiles and their kings and before all the people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name." So God calls Ananias in a vision to go pray for Saul. And I find it interesting that Ananias wasn't really shocked that God spoke to him in a vision. It's probably like, "Oh, Ananias. Oh, hey, haven't spoken to you in 2 days. How you doing?" I mean, he's not even fazed by it. What he's fazed about is like, "Pray for Saul? Oh, no, I don't think so." Like, are you sure? Like, I know about this man. This is the guy who's started up the whole persecution thing, killing all the Christians and arresting them in Jerusalem, and now he's going everywhere else trying to arrest them. He's going to do the same thing here as he did there. Are you sure, God? In a very understandable way, he does. Scripture tells us that Ananias was a devout man of the law. He was respected by all men. And it's very easy to understand because God's like, go and do it. I have a plan for this man. And Ananias actually believes. Most of us, if God told us to pray for some stranger in a supermarket who didn't do anything wrong to us, who we'll probably never see again, we probably wouldn't do it. If we get a feeling like, man, I should go pray for that person, I'm not going to do it. It's like, well, you're telling, go pray for your enemy who hates you to the utter end, who's prone to kill you, and probably will if he has a chance, and who just hates your guts. Go and pray for him. I don't think so. But Ananias does. And it's interesting because Jesus says, you got to love your enemies. Because if you only love those who love you, what good is that? How does that set you apart from anyone else? Even the wicked people do that. The wicked people love those who love them. Why would you only love those who love you? You need to love those who hate you. So Ananias, in a very Christ-like way, I should say, in a very godly way, goes and prays for Paul. And God also gives a message to give to Paul. He tells him how he is God's chosen instrument to take the gospel to the Gentiles, to their kings, before all the people of Israel. He also tells Ananias to tell Paul, you're going to have a ministry of suffering too. I'm sure Ananias liked that one. Oh, all right, yeah.